Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rulebook Room. I'm Harp, your resident law nerd who loves taking complex legal provisions and breaking them down into plain, student friendly stories. Today's episode is about what happens when you try to use the law to get away with something you yourself caused. And to unpack this, we are looking at Madras High Court decision in T. Srinivasan versus T. Varalakshmi from 1990. If that sounds a little abstract, don't worry. We're going to make sense of it step by step. And for those of you who have been listening for a while, you'll remember that in a previous episode we talked about Dharmender Kumar versus Usha Kumar, also on Section 23, subsection 1, Clause A of the Hindu Marriage Act. I'll drop the link in the description box so that you can listen to that one too. Let's start with the story. Srinivasan and Varalakshmi got married in January 1975. Within about 2 weeks, yes, 2 weeks, she was out of his house. Why? According to her, he was taunting her for not bringing enough gifts and because she had a small congenital lump on her shoulder, a fact he knew before marriage but decided to make an issue of later. According to him, she and her parents tricked him by hiding it. From here, the relationship was a series of legal volleys. She said he deserted her without cause. He said she walked out. Fast forward to mid 1975. He issues a notice saying she left. She replies, "No, you deserted me and I'm ready to come back." Instead of making that happen, he files for restitution of conjugal rights under Section 9 of the Hindu Marriage Act. And here's where it gets interesting. She doesn't contest. In fact, she files a counter saying again she is ready and willing to join him. The court passed a decree in his favor in February 1977. So now you'd think he'd sent for her, right? No. In fact, she sends him multiple notices, turns up with relatives on agreed days, but he locks the door, refuses entry, even tells the police in writing that he will not take her back. After a year, he files for divorce under Section 13, subsection 1A, Clause 2, arguing that since 1 year has passed after the restitution decree, without them living together, the law says he is entitled. This is where Section 23, subsection 1, Clause A comes into play. The "you can't take advantage of your own wrong" clause. Alright, quick pit stop for the law. Section 13, subsection 1A, Clause 2 says, if there has been no resumption of cohabitation for 1 year after a restitution decree, either party can seek divorce. Section 23, subsection 1, Clause A says, the court won't grant relief if you're taking advantage of your own wrong. The tricky part? Figuring out what counts as a wrong. Is simply not resuming cohabitation enough? Or does it have to be something more, what courts call a positive wrong? Let's look at how earlier courts handled it. First up, Dharmender Kumar versus Usha Kumar, which we covered before. It said a wrong under Section 23, subsection 1, Clause A has to be something more than just refusing to agree to reunion. It's got to be misconduct serious enough to deny relief. Then, the full bench Punjab and Haryana decision in Bimle Devi versus Singh Raj, it was held that merely refusing to resume cohabitation after restitution decree isn't enough to invoke Section 23, subsection 1, Clause A. The law doesn't give you a magic wand to physically drag your spouse home, so if they just don't come back, that alone doesn't block divorce. At this point, you might think, Srinivasan's case is looking good for him. But wait. Enters Geeta Lakshmi versus GVNK Sarveswar Rao. Section 13 amendments didn't override Section 23, subsection 1, clause A. If, after a restitution decree, you actively mistreat your spouse, drive them away, or commit fresh wrongs, you can't get divorce. The Madras High Court looked at the facts and said, this isn't a simple, we just didn't get back together case. This was multiple invitations from her to come back, physical attempts to return blocked by him, a written refusal at the police station, filing for divorce during her maintenance case. The court called it not mere non-compliance of decree, but an act of positive wrong. Translation: Srinivasan engineered the non-cohabitation so he could later claim divorce. Section 23, subsection 1, clause A slammed the door on that plan. Because he was found to be the one at fault, the court also upheld her right to separate maintenance under Section 18 of the Hindu Adoptions and Maintenance Act. The reasoning was straightforward. He had deserted her without reasonable cause. She had consistently shown willingness to resume marital life. He not only refused but actively prevented it. Here's the bigger picture. Section 13, subsection 1A opens the door to divorce after 1 year of non-compliance. Section 23, subsection 1, clause A is the bouncer at that door. It checks if you caused the situation. Wrong means more than just not living together. It's about whether you deliberately sabotaged the relationship to use the law for your own ends. So when you read a restitution of conjugal rights case, don't just stop at, has a year passed? Ask, who created the separation? Were there attempts to reconcile? Was there any active prevention? That's where Section 23, subsection 1, clause A really kicks in. So the next time you're thinking about Dharmender Kumar versus Usha Kumar, remember, that's not the whole story. That case told us mere refusal isn't enough. But Srinivasan's case, that's the example of when refusal crosses into positive wrong territory. And yes, the court was crystal clear. You can't set up a situation, block your spouse's return, and then waltz into court saying, look, a whole year passed, give me my divorce. The law's not that naive. That's it for today's episode. If you want a dig deeper into the mere refusal versus positive wrong debate, check out my earlier episode on Dharmender Kumar versus Usha Kumar. Links in the description. Until next time, keep questioning, keep reading, and remember, the law's not just about what you can get away with. It's about what's fair.